I want to talk about breaking down the walls that keep us locked inside our own prison. I want to talk about what happens when life beats you down so hard that you start to believe you deserve the pain. I've been there. I've seen it in my own family, especially in my mom, who went through a chain of abusive relationships that nearly destroyed her. I want to share that story with you because it taught me a lesson I'll never forget. No matter how bad it gets, you still hold the keys to your freedom. I grew up with a horrible stutter, and it didn't come out of nowhere. It was fueled by stress, toxic stress, because my father was abusive. He broke us down, one slap, one cruel comment at a time. My mom used to be a confident, smart, attractive young woman, but in that violent home, she lost touch with who she really was. She built up walls around her heart to survive. She tried to protect herself from more pain, but those same walls became her prison. Let me tell you something. You might build walls to stay safe, but they can also lock you in. Before you know it, you're trapped inside your own head, feeling worthless and ashamed, telling yourself you aren't good enough for anything better. You go out in the world, but you're not really living. You're just going through the motions, carrying around this heavy baggage that stops you from growing into the person you were born to be. I saw that happen to my mom. When we finally left my dad, she tried to start over, but she never really got free of his grip. She still carried his voice, his anger, his disrespect in her mind. She worked hard, earned a six-figure job at a great university, but in the mirror, she only saw a broken woman. No matter how much she achieved, she was still stuck in her personal prison because she never did the hard, conscious work to rebuild herself from the ground up. She ended up volunteering in a real prison, probably because she felt more comfortable in a place that matched how she felt on the inside, trapped. And guess what happened? She got engaged to a man who was in that prison for murder. After he got out, he moved into our house. Another disaster followed. Within 2 years, they were divorced. He relapsed and eventually died of an overdose. It's shocking, right? But let's be real. This is what can happen when you keep ignoring that voice inside you that says, wake up, you deserve better. If you keep numbing yourself, keep walking through life on autopilot, you will keep repeating the same mistakes. You will pick the same kinds of people, fall into the same kinds of traps, and wonder why your life doesn't get better. So, how do you break free? How do you smash those walls once and for all and build a life you love? Let me share a few lessons that helped me and could help you too. Stop sugarcoating your pain. Stop acting like it doesn't matter. You have to face reality no matter how painful it is. My mom should have stood up for herself the first time she got hit, or at least the 12th or the 50th time. But she stayed in denial. Guess what? Denial keeps you stuck. If you're in a toxic job, a toxic relationship, or you see that you're self-destructing, look at it head on. Say it out loud. That's your first step. You can't fix what you refuse to see. Sometimes you don't need more encouragement, more rah-rah positivity. You need a full stop. In the military, we call it reorg. You drop to the ground, reorganize your gear, count your ammo, and see what you're really up against. In life, that means you stop going through the motions. You take a hard look at your situation and you figure out where it's all heading. If my mom had done that after the very first abusive episode, she might have saved years of pain. A hard stop is not optional. It's non-negotiable if you want to change. You can't just keep hoping things will magically get better. They won't, unless you do something about it. We often hear that anger is unhealthy, but let me tell you something. Controlled anger can be your best friend. I'm not talking about throwing punches or yelling curses on the street. That's just more self-destruction. I'm talking about that fire inside that says, I've had enough. The anger that makes you realize you deserve better. You can harness that energy to take action. It's the anger that helps you break holes in those walls you built around yourself. When you feel like you can't do it, let that anger remind you how wrong this whole situation is. Let it push you to get up early. Stay up late and fight for your life. If you're stuck at rock bottom, anger can be the jolt that wakes you up. It turns the lights on and shows you the mess you're in, and that you don't have to accept it anymore. Even when you feel completely trapped, there's always at least one crack in the wall. Maybe it's a friend who's willing to listen. Maybe it's a book that speaks to you. Maybe it's an old talent you've ignored for years. You have to scratch, claw, and fight to make that crack bigger. Don't expect it to be easy. Expect it to hurt. You might bleed. You might break your nails. But keep going, because each time you widen that crack, you see a little more light. You start to realize there's a whole world out there waiting for you. Once you break free, you'll be standing in a debris field. That might be your old identity, old habits, old beliefs, all shattered. But now you have a clean slate. This is where you build a new foundation on purpose. Don't just start piling bricks without a plan, or you'll end up in another prison. Ask yourself, who do I want to be? What do I want my life to look like? Write it down, make it real, and then start building brick by brick, habit by habit, day by day. Self-worth isn't about what car you drive or how many likes you get on Instagram. It's about knowing deep down that you matter. Because when you don't think you matter, you make poor decisions. You accept abusive partners. You stay in jobs that kill your spirit. You keep silent when people disrespect. When you believe in your own worth, you stand taller. You say no when you need to. You walk away from toxic environments. And guess what? Opportunities start opening up. People sense your confidence and treat you differently. Sometimes you can't do it alone. You need people who've been there, who understand the fight you're in, or at least respect your journey. Don't stick around folks who drag you back into drama or negative cycles. Find people who challenge you, who tell you the truth, even if it hurts, and who cheer you on when you're doing the hard work. Accountability partners, mentors, friends, therapists, if you need them. No shame in getting help. Winners know when to reach out. Building a career, living a good life. None of that happens by accident. Too many people graduate from school or start a new job and think, I've made it. Now I can coast. Then they wonder why their lives feel empty. Don't coast. Stay hungry. Keep pushing. The moment you start to settle, your old demons might slip in through the cracks. The fight never ends, but that's not a bad thing. That fight builds you. It keeps you sharp. It doesn't matter what happened in your past. It doesn't matter if you grew up stuttering in an abusive home or got stuck in a dead-end job. You still hold the keys. You decide if you'll lock yourself in or let yourself out. Nobody can do it for you. Not your parents, not your friends, not your boss. It's on you. That might sound harsh, but it's also empowering, because once you own your story, you can change the ending. When you finally break down those walls, you'll stand there seeing the ruins of your old life, your old mentality, maybe even old relationships. It can be painful to look at that mess, but don't linger. Take the lessons and move on. If you stay too long, you risk building those walls again. Remember what it took to destroy them in the first place. Keep that memory close, but don't live there. Focus on where you're going, not where you've been. Look, I know life can be brutal. I know some of you have seen hardships you wouldn't wish on your worst enemy, but you still have a chance to fight back, to say enough is enough, and reclaim your mind. Yes, there are real prisons out there with bars and locked doors, but the prisons we build in our own heads can be even more dangerous, because we sometimes don't see the bars until it's almost too late. But here's the good news. Destruction always breeds creation. When you tear down the illusions that keep you stuck, you get to build something better. You get to rediscover who you are without all the negative voices telling you what to think or how to live. You get to choose your life. So, to each of you, building your career or trying to find your path, don't run from your past. Face it, own it, use it. Perform that hard stop if you need to. Rediscover your anger if it fuels you to change. Then break through those walls, one punch, one scratch, one breath at a time, and rebuild yourself piece by piece with intention and pride. Do not forget, you are the warden of your own life, and every warden holds the keys. Now, I'm telling you, it won't be easy. But if you want it, if you truly want to become the best version of yourself, this is the way. Start now. Start today. Don't waste another minute, because every second you wait is another second you hand over to your mental prison. It's time to unlock that cell and walk out into the light. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to decide you're done living small. Decide you're done being a prisoner in your own mind. That single choice can change the rest of your life. So make it right here, right now. Keep fighting. Keep rising. And never forget, you hold the keys to your freedom.